Hello, and welcome to another episode of How to Make an Album. My tripod broke, so I'm filming, as you can see, from a different angle. Yeah, it's been a great time over here in Copenhagen. It's been the Jazz Festival, and I've been volunteering, as you can see here, and also been busy playing a concert. So that went very well, and I can give you a little update on the project, just to kind of keep it alive until I have the time to get back into it, probably after the festival. So what's new is, of course, the concert is the biggest part of it. I played some of my songs from the album or from the project, let's say, and I even made some new stuff. And I have great footage, but no sound. I forgot to press record on the recorder, so that was really dumb. But well, that's what you get when you do everything from lights to setup to stage to yeah, stuff. So to playing. But I got some footage from my phone and from a nice camera from my friend Martin, who was also playing that evening. And yeah, I'm gonna put it out at some point, maybe. Maybe put it in this video if it finishes download, because it's 28 gigabytes for half of the concert, so that's a lot of gigabytes. But what's new is also I've received a little bit of funding. That's very big news to me, because it's the first ever music funding that I got, and it's for a mentorship program from Dansk Artistenforbund, which is a union for artists and musicians in Denmark. And I applied for a mentorship grant, which is 5,000 kroners, to give to a mentor, who's somebody who's very experienced in music and so on, to give me a mentorship session, which in this case will be connected to this project. And they said yes. So thank you, DAF. And the mentor in question is gonna be Elias Bendix, who's a cool guitarist here in Copenhagen, and he's playing all around the world and so on. So he's a very busy guy. And we were planning a session in his studio, and that's still gonna be the plan for this mentorship session. We're gonna be in his studio. I'm gonna play some of my songs and record, and then follow that process. And hopefully maybe some of it will even end up on the album if it's cool recordings. If not, we're just gonna have some nice demos and still gonna learn a lot from the process. So we were planning that session for today actually, but somehow it all broke down at the last minute and people weren't able to come. And then we canceled it because it's the Jazz Festival. What's the point in spending time in the studio while there's many nice concerts to see? So we decided, okay, let's not stress and make it happen no matter what. Let's do it when everybody has time. So that's what we're gonna do. So that's why I have a little bit of time to make this video. And yeah, that's that. So keep an eye out for updates on that. So about the album project, I have a new piece for the album, and I think it's gonna fit the theme very well, because it is pretty much the title track at this point. It's a song called Sad Songs for No Tomorrow, or I See People. I have it's like a two-way performance medley thing, and it's on top of some chord progression and melody and stuff and ideas that I had for a while. But for this concert I sat down and managed to put it together. Okay, so hopefully the sound is not too janky the way I'm doing it now with the phone on top of the piano. So the way I did it is I had this chord progression that's between a C minor and a B flat, like this. Kind of a bluesy thing. part of the melody. Now it makes a nice transition to A. To E flat and A flat. Nice modulation. And I've been sitting on this. Now I'm moving to this. I've been sitting on this for quite a while, maybe years, a couple of years, and not knowing how to put it together into a song. And finally, I thought maybe I had some text that I wanted to present for this concert, and then I thought, why don't I take the text, put it together with these chords, and then just find some way to present it. And then I did it. And the text, yeah, here it is. Extreme. Sort of scribbles of a madman, but I had 2 lines to start with that I felt really encompass somehow the feeling of being trapped in a corporate world and in a weird kind of job world where you're working, but you're not sure you're really doing anything that's helpful for the world, and maybe you're part of the problem and so on. Unrelated to any of my experiences, if anybody's watching from just saying. Inspired by real life. No names. Standing with my foot on the face of a slave, drinking with my fist from the bowl of the invader. It's very rough lines. I mean, I can see how somebody might feel attacked when I write these lines. So it's not about anybody specific, just closing my last eye to the chains I'm embracing, shedding my humanity to feel a stronger breeze. Dangling alone by the handle of a rifle, gaslighting myself that I'm fighting for peace, blasting a hole into anyone who listens, becoming one through our shared mutilation, and so on and so on. And so it's like 3 pages of this kind of scribbles. And so I thought, I've done this spoken word nonsense before and put it to music, and that's what I did for the concert. And I thought it worked pretty well, even though, of course, when you're doing the music and the words, it's like there's a lot to do in the moment. And it would be nice to have a focus, so that's why I'm always kind of thinking a little bit like, how can I turn this and maybe get some people to play with and put it together. But it, as proven maybe yet again by this session that we had with the pro guys, with the mentorship session, that it just kind of blew up in the last minute because somebody was busy and things are like, well, they're semi-professional, they have jobs, outside of music, and then they do music, some of them. Not Elias though, he's the full-time guy. That's why he's the mentor, maybe, I don't know. But basically, it's very hard to depend on people and put things together and make it work. So that's why I've been always kind of choosing the path of least resistance and just do solo stuff. So I made this solo show, and it is what it is. The other day, I wanted to shout out a very cool concert I saw yesterday, actually, called Asia Monet. It's a New York-based poet and jazz person, I guess. She writes poetry and then performs it with a sickest jazz band to accompany her. And that was a very cool performance and really kind of inspiring also a little bit for what I like to do. But she wasn't singing at all, so I guess I have the singing as well to incorporate. But very inspired. Definitely go check out Asia Monet if you're into some of my stuff. You'll definitely like her. And yeah, a lot of inspiration in the jazz festival. I've been to many concerts. I've also been to Makaya McRaven. I was lucky to get in as a volunteer, for free. If I went to all these concerts and paid the ticket, I would be far below my means. So very grateful for the Jazz Festival for letting us volunteers get free tickets to stuff. It's very nice. And I've been to Makaya McRaven, like I said, the drummer, also from the US. Very, very good drummer and a very good band. Incredible technique and speed and feel. And the guitarist was amazing. I gotta find his name after because I don't remember it now. And in a few minutes, I think, because it's getting a little bit late. Oh yeah. And in a few minutes, I also head out to another concert of some friends of mine, and then more concerts all day. So, as you can see, there's a lot going on, and that's why in the original plan I said it's gonna be Jazz Festival, not gonna do anything probably for that time, and here we are. But yeah, no progress on recording the actual songs, but a lot of thoughts for what to do about the recording, because as I was preparing for this session that we had planned with the guys, we were gonna go into the studio with a drummer and a bass player and a guitarist and me on the electric piano and vocals. And they didn't have an acoustic piano in the studio, but we said, yeah, we're gonna do the Rhodes or the Wurli. It has the two electric pianos, very nice. The Wurlitzer and Rhodes. So for sure it would be an amazing sound. So I was putting together, my thoughts and okay, well, how am I gonna do these songs, and which ones fit very well with the thing, and which ones maybe we don't have to bother with because I can maybe do them another time, so that we can optimize our time in the studio. We're only maybe gonna have a day probably for the amount of funding. It's not a lot of cash to pay a bunch of people. So yeah, in the end I was aiming for If It Comes to War, because that song, I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna go through all of the thought process, but it would be nice to do most of the songs with the full band, but for some of them especially, it would take a lot of effort to arrange and find a nice sound, and depending on who's playing, what they're feeling inspired as well, because I don't think I'm so interested in coming up with all of the parts myself and really figuring out what exactly everybody has to do, but rather jamming together with the musicians and the guitarist, finding something that they're comfortable with, and then putting that into the arrangement as a natural process, and of course to fit with the composition that is already there. So but for each song that can be many things. So for example, I have the Dreams, and as some of you might know, it has already a little bit of a version where I have the guitar part and then the vocals, then later the piano comes in, and then I also have some backing vocals. And of course for that one it makes sense to do this kind of layered stuff, and I can even imagine some strings and some cello things and some whatever in the big crescendo, and definitely some drums. Whereas for the Duckweed, for example, I'm not imagining both guitar and the piano, not acoustic guitar and piano, but either one, and again, definitely can hear some cellos at some parts of it, and definitely can hear some drums, but very like low drums, like atmospheric kind of, to support the tension rather than a strong beat. And I actually don't really have any of these songs with a strong beat, because they were really written for the purpose of being played by me on a guitar or on a piano, and I just didn't think about the beat so much. So when I have to think about it now and fit it in, it changes the sound completely, and then I'm not finding the exact way that I would like it. But that's the nice thing about a session with a drummer. The drummer will probably come up with a lot of different things that maybe work, and then I can say, let's go in this direction, or whatever. We go by feels, and then it's not gonna be the dream version from my head, because I don't know what it is. It's just gonna be a version that really fits together with all of us. So that was the strategy to go into the session. And then I prepared a bunch of charts. I guess I can show you the charts. I think that could be a cool thing for you to see as an update to the project. These charts I made, I think they're pretty cool because every time I see some real book stuff, you know, in jazz, you can go to a jam and you don't know the song, but you have the chart and you have whatever 24 chords, you know, it's all written in there, so you're just following the chart, and then you have an ear so you can hear the melody, and then you pick it up, and then half a minute later you're basically playing this new song. But my annoyance with these charts sometimes is that they're so damn complicated and written maybe in a crappy way. So as an example, the guys were saying, you know, from the session, they said, hey, what if we also play some funky tunes at some point? And then they sent me this track called Blue Macau. And I said, okay, I mean, let's give it a try. And they even sent me some chord sheets. And I said, okay, looks doable maybe. Then I listened, like, oh my god, this is a fast, complicated song, but very beautiful and cool melody and everything. But it took me a little moment to accept that maybe I can do it, because, you know. But the way the chart is written looks way more complicated than it actually is. And I can show you the version that they sent me, and then I just kind of transcribed it myself in this iReal Pro app that all the jazz guys use. By the way, not sponsored, but totally recommended. It's a very cool app. So starts with the F sharp, then, you know, A flat, E flat, maybe I'm butchering it now. And then in the B part, but then I'm playing super fast too, so it's like maybe I'm not that fast. This part is fucked up. Don't have enough fingers for this. Anyway, maybe I'll make another video on that at some point. But the point is, the chart is way more complicated than it has to be, because if you line up all the chords, it's very easy. It's A part and B part, and you can even see which parts kind of repeat so that you have an easier time remembering and everything. Why do they make it so complicated in these jazz apps? Maybe my explanation was they're so good at reading these charts that it's like nothing. They can just like, oh yeah, G, and it's all in their head. I don't know. To me, it's like so much easier when things are lined up so that you can see, the first part is always the same for every whatever, and then we're going back to two of this, and then two of this, and then two of this. I don't know. But anyway, that was my experience with this track that they sent me just to learn in a day. And I learned it, you know, it's fine. I can probably do it, especially when I don't have to the bass and the melody and everything together. And then we have a band together. We can split some of these responsibilities. But then for my songs, I tried to organize these charts in a logical way so that it's easy to follow. And I don't know, let's look at the one for I don't know how I'm gonna show this, because I really don't want to sit and edit videos during the festival here. So maybe I can do it really crappy like this. So here's my website. make it brighter. And here's the charts. Let's take the one for If It Comes to War. Excel to the rescue. Everything is lined up. Very easy. C, D, G. Most of it is C, D, and G. This part is the chorus. Put a different color on it. Piano solo on the A part. Easy. A part again, A part again. Chorus. Easy. Maybe it looks complicated because there's so many chords, but actually it's 4 chords. Anyway, I made this one. Let's look at the one let's look at the one for Duckweed. I think that's a good example because I also color coded it a little bit. I don't know if you can see anything. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I'm overthinking it for sure. It's not that complicated. But I made these charts. Well, I can show you just for the sake of it. Here's the Duckweed page. You know, I have the video of me playing Duckweed. Then I also have the lyrics, just raw. Then I have the lyrics with chord. I mean, this is like ultimate guitar type stuff, you know what I mean? So it's like whatever, lines of text with chords on top. The problem is you don't know the timing, you don't know the you know, when the changes happen just according to the lyrics. So you have to really listen to the song and use your ears and remember everything. So that's where the chart can come in, and it's much clearer how things connect. I mean, of course, it's not a full score with notes and so on, but to be honest, if I go to a session with semi-pro musicians and I bring a freaking notes and everything, some people don't have such an easy time with the notes. They just play by ear and they're really good musicians, but they can't read music, especially when it comes to pop and jazz and so on. So I'm not sure it's worth the time and effort to set up some of these charts with the notes for a live session. Of course, when you go and you play with some strings people or whatever, they're most likely gonna be really fast at reading music. And of course also the pop people and the jazz people. I mean, if you're educated at conservatory or something, you can read music no problem. But I don't play with these people normally. I play with people who don't read music, and they just like play it by ear. And that's why I didn't bother, because it's gonna take me a long time to make nice charts and everything, and then they can't even read it. What am I putting this time into? So yeah, a lot of work to prepare for the unknown. Well, so in conclusion, I prepared all these charts and I thought we're gonna do these things in a studio, but yeah, turns out it was not the right time for it. So I'm still gonna find a way around, but it helped a lot to think of, or I'm not sure it helped a lot, but it was interesting to think about the arrangements and the drums and all this and what I want to do with these songs, because I mean that's what you gotta do if you want to record a bunch of songs with people, especially. If I were to do it alone, and so for some of them for sure I'll do it alone, it will be a similar process, but it might take layer by layer, which means it might be a different process where most importantly I have to think of what layer to start with and then evolve it from there. And of course having some idea of it's gonna have this or that instrument, but if the core is, let's say, guitar and all the other instruments basically supporting that, that kind of makes sense in a solo production. That's how I've been approaching the other songs. Or let's say there's a beat at the core, and on top of the beat there's the bass and the chord progression, and then the vocals or whatever. It's basically each layer you do is gonna interact with the previous layer, but not the other way around. And even if you let's say you have the beat, you record the piano, and then you record the vocals, the piano is interacting with the drums. The vocals are interacting with both of them, but the piano is not reacting at all to the vocals because it's been recorded already. So if you want to go back and re-record the piano after you've done the vocals, maybe even more layers, they still don't interact with each other. It's just gonna be the last one interacts with the previous ones. And in a studio sesh with more musicians, that's where the magic happens, that we're all interacting with each other and feeling every drop or every change together, and we can kind of flow like a swarm of fish or whatever. And that's what is missing when it's layer by layer, and that's what I'm craving for now, because I've been going to all these cool concerts where everybody's really grooving together. So yeah, this process is going a little bit unexpected directions, because I was thinking I'm just gonna do the same process as I've done before with my songs, but I kind of really want to get a studio session now and get a drummer and a bass player and do these songs like that, because it would be much cooler. But anyway, I don't know what's gonna happen. I guess I'll wait until the end of the jazz festival. I'm gathering names and contacts of people that could be nice to play with, and hopefully I can put together something, even though this funding is aimed at one guy who's very busy until a long time from now. Maybe I can find other people as well, and maybe even more funding. I mean, if I get one, maybe I can get more. Anyway, that's it for this video. It's way too long anyway now, and I have to sit and edit it, and I don't know when it's gonna come out, but hope you enjoyed, and see you around. Have a beautiful start of the summer.